Right now, the largest land animal on Earth is the African elephant. It weighs around 7 tons. It is huge. But 50,000 years ago, there were creatures so big that an elephant would not even make the top 10. Almost all of them are gone now. And the question of why they were so big and where they went has one answer that nobody wants to talk about. That answer points directly at us. Let us start with what actually lived on this planet, because most people have no idea how big ancient animals actually were. There was a shark called Megalodon. It was 60 feet long. The biggest great white shark today is about 20 feet. Megalodon would have eaten it whole. But the giants were not only in the ocean. There was a ground sloth called Megatherium. It was taller than a giraffe and as heavy as an elephant. It walked on land slowly, and nothing on Earth could touch it. But Australia had its own version of impossible. There was a wombat called Diprotodon. It was the size of a hippo. There were kangaroos 10 feet tall. Camels the size of giraffes walking across North America. Armadillos as big as small cars. Crocodiles 40 feet long. Birds that could not fly but could outrun a horse. This was not the same Earth we live on today. It was something else entirely. Scientists call these animals megafauna. It just means big animals. And figuring out why they existed and where they went is one of the biggest mysteries in science. So why were ancient animals so much bigger? The answer is not one single thing. It is several things working together over millions of years. The first reason is oxygen. During certain periods of Earth's history, the air had much more oxygen than it does today. Today, air is about 21% oxygen. Around 300 million years ago, it was closer to 35%. That extra oxygen let animals grow much larger. Insects especially got enormous. There were dragonflies with wings 2.5 feet wide, millipedes 8 feet long, scorpions the size of dogs. More oxygen in the air meant more energy for every living thing. And more energy meant bigger bodies were possible. But oxygen was only the beginning. The second reason is food. Ancient Earth was covered in plants and forests on a scale we can barely picture today. Grasslands so rich they could feed herds of giant animals numbering in the millions. Being big costs a lot. A large animal needs enormous amounts of food every single day. But when food is everywhere and always available, it actually becomes a huge advantage. Research confirms there is strong pressure for plant-eating animals to grow really big when food is easy to find. Because a very large animal is almost impossible to kill. Lions do not hunt elephants. Wolves do not attack herds of 10,000 buffalo. Being enormous is the best protection ever invented by nature, and when the ancient Earth could support it, animals took full advantage. But food alone does not explain everything. The third reason is temperature. This one surprised scientists when they first found it. Cold weather actually pushes animals to grow bigger. A larger animal has less skin relative to its body size than a small animal does. That means it loses heat more slowly. A mammoth in an ice age could stay warm much more easily than a smaller animal ever could. This is why the biggest animals in history often appeared during the coldest times on Earth. The ice ages did not make animals smaller. In many cases, they made them bigger. Mammoths, woolly rhinos, cave bears, giant elk, all of them shaped by cold conditions. But even cold weather needed one more ingredient. The fourth reason is time. Evolution is slow, incredibly slow. When nothing major disrupts an ecosystem for millions of years, animals have time to gradually grow larger and larger across generations. Scientists call this Cope's rule, the idea that animal groups tend to get bigger over time when left alone. A small ancient horse the size of a dog slowly became the horse we know today over 50 million years. Given enough time and enough stability, life trends toward larger. Always, until something breaks that stability. Something did break it. And the timing of what happened next is almost impossible to explain as a coincidence. 50,000 years ago, there were 57 species of animals on Earth that weighed over a ton. Today, there are only 11. In just 50,000 years, 46 species of the largest animals that ever lived disappeared forever. And nobody can fully agree on why. The debate about why has gone on for decades. Two main suspects: climate change. Let us look at the first suspect. The climate change argument goes like this. The end of the last ice age brought huge shifts in temperature and rainfall. Grasslands that had fed giant herds for thousands of years dried up or turned into forests. Animals that had grown up in one type of world suddenly found themselves in another. Many could not adapt fast enough, and they died. Climate absolutely played a role. But here is the problem with blaming climate alone. There were many ice ages before this one. Multiple times over the past 2 million years, the Earth went through climate changes just as severe, and none of them caused mass animal extinction. The giant animals survived ice age after ice age after ice age until one specific moment, the moment humans arrived. Researchers at Aarhus University looked at over 300 scientific studies on animal extinction. Their conclusion was clear. Human hunting played the biggest role in the disappearance of large animals over the last 50,000 years. The pattern is almost perfect. Everywhere on Earth, wherever humans arrived, large animals disappeared. Australia, North America, South America, Madagascar, New Zealand, every time. Same pattern, humans arrive, giant animals vanish. Africa is the only place where large animals survived in big numbers. And Africa is the only place where humans and large animals evolved together over millions of years. The animals there had time to learn to be afraid of us. Everywhere else, the animals had never seen anything like us, and it cost them everything. Think about what early humans actually were as hunters. They were not just strong, they were smart in a way no predator had ever been before. A lion hunts alone or in a small group. But early humans did something completely new. They worked together in large groups using tools and language to hunt animals far bigger than themselves. Archaeologists have found traps built specifically for animals the size of mammoths. Not one hunter hiding behind a rock, large groups working together to drive entire herds off cliffs. Tests on ancient human bones confirm they were regularly eating the biggest animals. The protein on their spear tips matches mammoth, mastodon, and giant sloth. This was not occasional. This was regular and organized, and here is why those big animals could not survive it. Large animals are very easy to wipe out. A mouse can have 12 babies every few weeks. A mammoth had one baby every 4 to 5 years. That baby took 15 years to grow up. If hunters killed even a small number of mammoths above the natural birth rate, the population could not recover. The math is simple and brutal. You do not have to kill every mammoth to wipe them out. You just have to kill slightly more than are being born. Over decades, that small gap adds up, and eventually there are none left. This is exactly what the fossil record shows. Not a sudden overnight extinction, a slow, steady decline across hundreds of years, following the path of humans spreading across the globe. Some scientists do push back on this. A study from 2025 argued that climate change was the main cause of extinction in North America specifically, and they make fair points. The end of the Ice Age was genuinely hard on ecosystems. The honest answer is probably both. Climate change weakened the large animal populations, it reduced their food and changed their habitat, and then humans arrived into a world already under stress, and finished what the climate had started. It was not one cause. It was many small ones hitting at the same time. But whether it was climate or humans or both, the real question is what we actually lost. What did we actually lose when these animals disappeared? Most people never think about this part, because losing the megafauna was not just sad for the animals, it changed the whole planet. Large plant-eating animals are like engineers of the natural world. A herd of mammoths moving across a landscape does things nothing else can do. They knock down trees and create open grassland. They dig up soil and expose nutrients. Their waste fertilizes huge areas of land. In winter, their movement through snow compacts it and allows cold air to reach the ground below. Without mammoths doing this in the Arctic, the frozen ground called permafrost began to thaw. Scientists studying this today believe that bringing large plant-eating animals back to the Arctic could actually slow this thawing. Because the whole system was built around these animals being there, we removed them, and the planet is still adjusting. The Amazon rainforest tells another part of this story. Many of the largest trees in the Amazon make fruits with seeds so big that no living animal today can swallow and spread them. These trees grew their fruit that size to be eaten by giant ground sloths. Animals that have been gone for 10,000 years. Those trees are now slowly dying out. They still grow and make seeds, but the seeds just fall and rot at the base of the tree, because the animal they needed is gone. We did not just lose the megafauna, we broke the system they were holding together. There is one more part of this story that almost nobody talks about. Africa still has its large animals because they grew up alongside humans over millions of years. Elephants, rhinos, hippos, lions. They learned slowly over hundreds of thousands of years to be afraid of us. That slow shared history gave them the time to figure out how to survive next to the most dangerous hunter the world had ever seen. But look at those African animals today. Elephants are being killed for their tusks to the edge of extinction. Rhinos exist in tiny scattered groups. Lions have lost 90% of the land they used to live on. The animals that survived the first wave of human hunting are now facing the second, and this time the threat is not spears. It is guns, farms, roads, and 8 billion people using more resources than the planet was built to handle. 50,000 years ago, there were maybe 2 million humans on Earth. We still managed to wipe out 46 species of giant animals. Today there are 8 billion of us. The direction this is heading is not hard to see. But here is what makes this story different from just being depressing. We know what we did. For the first time in the history of life on Earth, a species can look back at its own past and understand the damage it caused. We can see before and after. We can measure what was lost. And some people are actually trying to fix it. There is a project in Siberia called Pleistocene Park. Scientists are bringing large plant-eating animals back to the Arctic tundra to try to rebuild something close to what the mammoth world looked like. Bison, horses, reindeer, musk oxen. Early results show that areas with large grazing animals have much colder permafrost than areas without them. The animals compact the snow. The ground stays frozen. The carbon stays locked underground. It is not a mammoth, but it is a start. There are also serious scientific teams working on bringing the woolly mammoth back, using ancient DNA preserved in frozen mammoths to engineer a cold-adapted elephant that could survive in the Arctic. A company called Colossal Biosciences has already edited dozens of mammoth genes into living elephant cells. Whether it works or not, the idea itself is remarkable. For the first time in history, a species is trying to undo its own past damage. So let us bring it all together. So why were ancient animals bigger than anything alive today? Because the Earth once had the oxygen, the food, the temperature, and the time to build them. Because when evolution is left alone long enough, it always trends toward larger. Because these giant animals filled roles in the natural world so important that the entire planet was built around them being there. And why are they gone? Because something arrived that the natural world had never seen before. A hunter that could think, that could plan, that could work together, that could adapt faster than evolution could keep up with. A creature that looked at the largest animals on Earth and saw food. And a creature that is still doing the same thing today, only at a much larger scale. The Earth you live on is not the original version. It is a smaller, quieter version. A world running on a fraction of the life it was built with. And most people walk through it every day without knowing what is missing. The silence where the mammoths used to be. The trees waiting for animals that will never come back. The frozen ground slowly thawing because the animals that kept it cold are gone. We were handed a broken world and we broke it. The question now is whether we are smart enough to put some of it back together. No species has ever done that before. But then again, no species has ever known it needed to. Before you go, here is what today actually taught you. Ancient animals were bigger because of more oxygen in the air, more food, colder temperatures, and millions of years of time. The giant animals did not disappear because of climate change alone. Everywhere on Earth when humans arrived, the largest animals disappeared. Large animals are easy to wipe out because they reproduce very slowly. We did not just lose the animals, we broke the systems they were holding together.